Don in London, hello. August 24th, noise is off at the moment, windows open, very clammy day here in London. The UK. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour equally addictive around people, places and things. So alcoholic in recovery, one day at a time for some years. And also in recovery from being addicted to people, places and things. That is, trying to please people, be in the right place, with the right things, doing the right things. Trying to be perfect, and never so. So these days I'm very happy to settle for diligence and studious progress. Not to say that I'm addicted to progress, or maybe I am, but certainly not perfection, and certainly not trying to fit in a way which was to please you and put myself down. Very, very easy to find ourselves in so many traps around trying to be included in society when we are in fact included in society by just living. It's what we do next and how we live that makes life worthwhile. So these days, making progress around people, places and things, and not drinking one day at a time. And it's a story which does not require self-will or willpower to stop doing something which is harmful. I learned how not to drink one day at a time, to recognise that I am powerless over alcohol, people, places and things if I start drinking, and life then will get very unmanageable very quickly because I wouldn't be able to cope with reality. So these days it is about coping with reality, and that's some people call spiritual, and knowing what my feelings are, my emotions, understanding how I feel in the moment of now. So what's made it possible? Well, not only family, friends, community, professionals, and all those people who kept me alive long after my sell-by date, when I was riddled with a disease I could not deal with, is a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, never can, never will, don't want to, because everybody in the fellowship is the same size and has the same equal rights and responsibilities to live sober. Open, honest and willing to live sober so the rest of life can work. So these days I need to put sober first so that I can learn how to love, be loved back and useful in whatever is going on in my life and the life around me. So AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, provided me with a 12-step program and a fellowship where we are all trusted servants working together to keep fellowship healthy in unity, service and recovery. There are no laws, rules or regulations in the fellowship. We only have one purpose: to be there, to be sober and share with others how to get sober as well. And that's contained in this little preamble. My videos are about recovery and what made it possible, so I speak extensively about how fellowship influences my life and how literature within fellowship helps me, and how it helps me to go to meetings where I meet like-minded people who daily want to be sober. Well, some don't want to be sober because it's taken something away from them. That's their best friend being alcohol, which served us all very well, keeping us, I suppose, docile, or the other way, quite active and aggressive, depending on how it grabbed us in the moment. So it tended to put us at extremes of feeling and in a different sort of way of seeing reality. So these days I prefer not to be at extremes, unless it's an extreme situation which requires my feelings are heightened through danger or happiness, one or the other. Could be all sorts of reasons, but my feelings tend to fit what is going on now. So feelings and reality are congruent. They're in the same place, and I'm in the same place. I'm not stuck in history, and I'm not dreaming about the future too much, although I have a weather eye to what I might do in the future. So AA, this is what it's all about for me. made sober possible. So I'm going to share the AA preamble on this little card, and then some of my thoughts for this day. The preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So whilst the fellowship is there for one purpose, everybody in the fellowship has outside affiliations and understandings in their life about what makes it work, and we share about it. So it can be quite confusing, because whilst we are there to share how sobriety is working for us, we do bring in our background. So sometimes you may feel that you're hearing somebody try to persuade you to their point of view on outside matters. Actually they're not, if they're being true to themselves and true to the fellowship. Simply they are expressing what goes on in their lives and how it is to be sober, and how it impacts on the rest of what goes on for anyone. So we are there sober first to help each other and help anybody wanting to find out more about how to be in recovery, sober one day at a time in a one-day program. The beauty of it is we can join up the days and it becomes weeks, months, years. Some people get it straight away, some people, like me, are a slow learner, and I mean that in relation to the way the fellowship works and how the fellowship program helps me. I was a slow, steady learner. I didn't have a bright light appear in the sky and then suddenly I was on the road to Damascus. Not that anybody would, in their right mind, would want to go there right now. So, slow and steady progress in terms of emotional and spiritual well-being, where my feelings fit the moment of now. And I like meetings. I get to see people sober, I get to hear their wisdom about what's going on in their lives, and I can only share in a general way what happens in meetings and how it impacts on me, not how it impacts on other people, because anonymity is sacrosanct. The fellowship meetings and groups and rooms where people come together, it's about anonymity to share the truth of who we are, and by sharing the truth of who we are, we get open, honest and willing to keep living life sober, be fair and have integrity. So all important how we look after ourselves and look after others. So the AA Daily Reflection, which I'm going to share today, comes from this book, Daily Reflections, 1 page a day, 365 pages for the whole year, and it covers the 12-step program for individuals and the 12 traditions. And August is all about step 8 and tradition 8, and I'll say more about step 8 now. I made a list of amends to people we've harmed and be willing to make them, and we get that from our life story, which is the previous step, step 4. So making a list of people we have harmed and be willing to make those amends. Willingness doesn't mean we're ready to make them. We have to learn how, and whether we're right in our thinking and feeling, or we're right in our feelings and then think about it. What's best to do? Better done with the help of another human being, or the intervention of more than one human being. The wisdom of the many, how they did it. So AA Daily Reflections for today. Yes, where am I? I'm just checking the time. August 24th, Step 8. A riddle that works. It may be possible to find explanations of spiritual experience such as ours, but I often try to explain my own and have succeeded in only giving the story of it. I know the feeling it gave me and the results it has brought, but I realise I may never fully understand its deeper why and how. And this was one of the co-founders writing back in the day. So, spiritual experiences. Some do have almost like a blinding flash of I realise what I need to do next. Or some of us have a spiritual experience of the educational variety, as William James called it. That is, day by day we gain a little bit more about the truth of who we are and what the world is, and we see how we fit with it. So the spiritual experience can be, I suppose, a bolt out of the sky for some, a revelation that more is revealed to me on a daily basis, rather than actually wondering how on earth am I ever going to be sober and look like those happy people out there. This is Bill Wilson speaking. I had a profound spiritual experience during an open AA meeting, which led me to blurt out, I'm an alcoholic. I have not had, no, this is not Bill Wilson, it's somebody else. I'm an alcoholic. I have not had a drink since that day. Not true of me. It took me a few goes. I can tell you the words I heard just prior to my admission, and how those words affected me, but as to why it happened I do not know. I believe a power greater than myself chose me to recover, yet I do not know why. I try not to wonder, or worry or wonder, about what I do not yet know. Instead, I trust that if I continue to work the steps, practice the AA principles in my life, and share my story, I will be guided lovingly toward a deep and mature spirituality, in which more will be revealed to me. For the time being, it is a gift for me to trust God, work the steps, and help others. So you're being asked to do a lot in that. Receive a gift, trust God, work the steps, and help others. Now, I don't know what I am. Even today I can be agnostic, atheist, or believer. Sometimes it just depends on the experience I'm having. Sometimes I sit in the room of AA and hear so much wisdom from other people, I don't know what to do with it. And there are blinding revelations which give me hope. Hope that I can just be me. Isn't that the best of? Hope that I can be me. And I don't have to prove it to anybody. I'm not taking an assessment, I'm not being judged. I can just be me and learning. Progress not perfect. So every time, I always hated exams at school. I ran away from them. I didn't realise I was dyslexic, so maybe I was running in the wrong direction. But what I've learned these days is we are born with what we have from nature, and with providence we learn what we can and cannot do. I learned some very bad habits to cover up my feelings of fear and having to put on a brave face because life just did not seem right to me. So the blinding enlightenment, if you like, has been a sort of dull candlelight, and then sometimes the lights come on and I hear things which I think that's way beyond my understanding, but I understand it now, and that's how it works for me. So trust God, I trust the wisdom of others very often to enlighten me in the moment of now. So when I say emotional and spiritual program, this is what it's all about. When my feelings fit what is going on, reality, when I get a blinding enlightenment in the moment of now, it may impact for the rest of my life. So trust God, trust the wisdom of others often to show me a path. It doesn't mean it's the path that they're running on, it shows me the path I can walk along in reality at the pace at which I can go. So I'm learning the steps every single day, 12 steps. I know them inside out, and yet I don't know anything about them inside out until they've worked for me today. And the tradition's all about unity, service and recovery, sharing it with others. So my thoughts this morning: back in the final days of drinking, I can forget how bad it got. Then I hear a harrowing share from somebody in a meeting, detailing the physical and emotional horror. I sat there feeling the shock of the truth of me back then, how horrible it got, how downgraded I was, or degraded by what had happened to me. My story, no less shocking, mirrored what I heard. We humans have amazing capacities to recover when we find a path. And the amazing capacities are, we deal with what happened to us, and that's what the 12 steps help me do. and then I find a way of living sober. It may not be the most glamorous life. I tell you what, most of the time I feel I understand where I am in the moment of now, happy or sad, joyful or terribly, terribly depressed, because all these things happen in recovery. We get real life, real emotions and real feelings in the moment, and they can be extremely painful or extremely good. And again, in recent months, many newcomers to the fellowship, some very wary of the people, places, what they hear and what they see, because, you know, I was a doubting Thomas. He was a religious example. I doubted these people were true. I doubted that they were sober. I thought they were just pretending. I thought they might want any money I had, but I didn't have any money, and they didn't ask me for any. So all those things. In early days I wanted to fit in and be a good student, definitely. I did people please. I joined in when maybe I shouldn't. And I did get caught in the web of some with little or no integrity, because, and then I realised that fellowship is like all walks of life. People are people. Some good, some bad, plenty of wisdom to learn, and plenty of chaff a day at a time, sorting the wheat from the chaff, what is good for us and what is not good for us, what we can make work in the day and what is completely ludicrous and won't work in our day once we've got our sober heads on. So it's interesting how easy it is to go off track. Previous years, spiritual experience all day, every day, living reality. Some suggest it is the ability to cope with now. Some suggest it is letting go of our opinion and personal view. Thinking kept me drinking. Yeah, self-will run right. Willpower failed me. Willpower will fail. Some suggest less denials and more truth. Less of a personal judgment and standing in others' shoes, seeing it from another's point of view, being a part of, inclusive, equal. Could it be simply living in the moment? I guess it could. All-inclusive today, in a fellowship in life and more in tune with truth, love and wisdom shared with me. And that's what I see it as. If there is a higher power, it's the truth, love and wisdom of now, as I get it in the moment. To be included, loved and develop choices in life as life happens. There is always a balance in what we can and cannot do today. Accepting the truth is my connection to the spiritual of today. Spiritual, the ability to cope with now, as many people have said. And often people want a deeper spiritual experience. Well, if we know our emotions, we have a deeper feeling. And the spiritual experience is being in the present moment. After all, that's what we were built for by nature, to live in the moment. Nature didn't make us in a way that we sat there living in history and depression, or history and exhortation to old times. We were built to live in the moment and have a weather eye to the horizon. Simply put, so the deeper we feel life resonates with it. I wish I hadn't used that word now, but to be in the moment completely, mind, body and breath, as many mystics used to say. That's what we do. We live in the moment, we breathe in, we breathe out. And we've got all these senses going on. And if they're tuned into now, all the better. But if they're tuned into what's going to happen next, or it was better back then, we will get stuck somewhere. But it won't be in the present moment, where spiritual is key. So that's me for today. And the can do, can't do. That's serenity prayer to good conscience, or God, as you understand for yourself. It's your understanding for yourself which counts. And truth, as Gandhi said, so I'm told, God is truth, love and wisdom, or a combination of that, a power greater than me. Not too mystical, but the universe, beyond definition and beyond explanation, for me. So many higher powers, from the man who sweeps the streets to the man who sits in office as Prime Minister or President, depending on where you are. And if you're in Libya, what a strange set of events that is. So, serenity prayer, or exaltation or meditation. I use the word God because it's nice and simple, but so complicated because nobody has a definition which will fit forever. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference for me is just for today.